So, Danny, tell us how long you've been spelling to communicate, and kind of tell us about your story and anything you want to share about your spelling journey.
Okay, do you want to go to the PowerPoint slide now?
Yes. Yes.
So just so everyone knows, Danny spelled out some thoughts beforehand, and he's working on his speech, but in case it's hard to understand, we typed it out on PowerPoint slides. So we'll share that now as he reads his answers.
Okay.
So I'll go to the slideshow. All right, hon. You ready?
Yes, Tama. It is a story in 3 parts. I first began to spell in 2014 when my wonderful mom took me to meet Elizabeth Hostler or Evie. I was not so optimistic about it because I had not had much success with the countless other miracles we had tried. I was so sick of trying to be good, but this was fundamentally different. If he was not trying to change me, she saw me as a complete person. She treated me with respect. She presumed competence, and she genuinely wanted to help me. The first sessions were such a revelation. I could not believe what I could do. To be able to finally share my true words, wow, it was just absolutely astounding. Alright. My family really changed how they treated me after that. They always loved me so much, but had no idea how smart and sensitive and observant I am. My older sister Tama especially started to talk to me like I was an adult instead of a toddler. The rest of the family followed. It was so humanizing. But Evie is based across the country, so it was not possible to go regularly, and we tried to practitioners you who I did click with. That is an important point. Spelling because a close relationship of trust and genuine connection that every practitioner will miss with any non-speaker. Tragically, my dad incapacitated all the system, so having to return to her shop abroad strongly urged my mom to bring me to Evie to help me process my grief. It was so helpful. Then she recommended another practitioner in San Diego who had recently started, and this is how I met the amazing Don Marie. Don Marie is a wonderful practitioner and friend. I started going to her just a week. I loved it. She helped me strengthen my spelling and started training my mom and younger sister. It was so great. It was so great to practice with them.
Good, Dan.
However, we didn't achieve fluency in the family until Tava moved back to focus on it. This was a year ago, and the pandemic gave us a lot of quality time, time to grow as communication partners. We are very alike, and I always felt most aligned with her. So we are a communication stream team. My younger sister and mom are making great progress. I love having my most precious people to spend with. My best buddy is also studying to learn. Being able to share my real words in my daily life is so amazing. It brings such a sense of autonomy and agency and so much more. I can choose what I do and what is done to me. I can select what goes to work toward and ask for support. I can share my feelings and I can trust my sisters.
Yeah, that's it for that one, I think, Dan. Yep. Oh, we can't hear you, Megan. Sorry.
I had muted myself. Sorry about that. That is an awesome story. I'm sorry about the bad, Danny. That's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to say anything? He was
My
my biggest.
my biggest
Mm-hmm.
my biggest cheerleader.
He was my biggest cheerleader.
Done.
Yeah.
That's hard to lose that person. I felt that way. I lost my aunt a couple years ago, and that's kind of how I felt. I lost like one of my biggest cheerleaders, so I know how hard that is. Before you learned how to speak to type or point to communicate, you weren't able to communicate at all, or did you have an AAC device or anything like that, Danny?
N O D E V I C E. No device.
Done.
What else do you want to say? I O N L Y H A D S O N E. I only had some S E T P H R A S E S. Done. I only had some set phrases.
How hard was that for you?
He's just getting one more sticker in and then
No problem.
W.
Wow. It was so awful.
Done. It was so awful. Anything else, Danny, after L? I T W E S.
It was
D E C H D E S. It was decades.
tickets
F
tickets of
T R A. It was decades of trauma.
drama. Stickers.
Yeah, good job with your stickers.
I'm so grateful for you sharing this with us. How's it going with Tara being your communication partner? I'm especially interested in this because I have a brother that's similar to my age. And
oh yeah,
how is that going?
Let me see. Ah, here we go. So we can go back to the
Sure.
PowerPoint. I'm glad this was a positive answer. This would be awkward, wouldn't it? Are you ready to go?
Wow, what an amazing communication partner. She is my best ally and soulmate. She gets me, and she is so full of compassion and integrity. This is so important. She's committed to advocating for me and my words. Even if she does not agree or dislikes what I say, that means I can absolutely trust her. Our family is very close. I am so lucky for this. They always mean well, but the transition to my fluency with just one person did have challenges. It changed the dynamics in the family. This adjustment was sometimes tumultuous, mainly on assumptions about me and my preferences and my rights to decide for myself were hard to seek. Even with my ability to communicate, this made me feel unheard all over again. It was also tough for Tara. She had to deal with criticism and displaced frustration, but she was strong and she helped the rest of the family learn to better interact with me. Now we are all much more aligned. We learn a bit more easily how to show our love, understanding, and support.
I'm especially taken aback by how you had to how members of your family had to transition from basically making every decision for you, and basically they had all the control, and now they know that you can talk and communicate, and they have to give up that control. Is that kind of what happened?
Exactly.
B U but I T W A S.
But it was not about about power.
It was not about power.
It's
W A S.
how it was.
It was M A I N
It was mainly
H A B I T. It was mainly habit.
It was mainly habits. Yeah, I get that. So Tara, how's it going with you? Being the communication partner and the sister and wearing the different hats.
Yeah, well, it's pretty amazing. I mean, just him being fluent with anyone is amazing. I'm just 2 years older, and I have clear memories of him starting to speak and then suddenly stopping, and kind of the uncertainty and confusion. And over the years, it kind of sticks with you. I think anyone who's on here who might love someone who's non-speaking and not able to communicate, you're always kind of wondering, will I ever get to know this person more deeply? And even my most pessimistic, I'm like, is there any more to know? Like, is there stuff going on? But most of the time, we had the sense that there was a lot going on, but we just didn't know how much. So it's been just so fantastic to connect with this person who I've loved for 35 years, and to find out that we are really, and we've always felt close, but he really is like my soulmate, like that kind of support and love. And we have a very loving family. I have wonderful friends, but that kind of support and love that we share now is beyond what I ever thought I'd have. So that's really special.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And one of those phrases he and my little sister use is like something expanding. So I would describe this as a universe expanding experience. Like our relationship, my own perception of him, my own perception of what non-speaking autistics are experiencing, acknowledging the ableism that I actually really had quite a lot of, but hadn't realized. You know, I'm coming to terms with that and getting to know more about disability justice because, Danny, you're quite involved. And one thing that's been really wonderful for us to learn is as Danny says, the miracles within autistic me. That he loves, that there's a lot about autism that Danny loves. And like one of our earlier conversations, we were sitting down to write. He likes to write poems. And I was like, all right, are you ready? And he said, let's go. And I said, where are we going? Just being playful. And he goes, to the most amazing place in the universe. I said, where is that? And he said, my mind.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So like, I know my mom often says, like, for her, there was a big shift in seeing it as autism has to be cured. And then through this, she's like, no, I see it's really beautiful. And I just want to help him with the hard parts of it. But like, we actually appreciate this neurotype.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just been, you know, I care about Danny so much. I like to think of myself as a person of integrity. So putting aside my ego and sometimes hearing direct criticisms, I once explained it to a friend. It's really bizarre to see an insult be slowly spelled out to you.
Sandy, you're insulting her in slow motion. It's hilarious. I love that.
Yeah, but it's never mean. It's usually playful, or like if I am being too pushy, he'll be like, you are being pushy. And I'll be like, okay, I'm trying my best. And also just, as I mentioned about ableism, like just not even recognizing the many issues that communication is involved with, like as you mentioned, autonomy and agency and issues of just his rights. So standing up for him in doctor's appointments, telling doctors to talk directly to him, that they have to listen to what he wants. And even in our own household, getting into the habit of asking him before we offer or have him take any supplements, for example, or even offer him food because you sometimes have compulsive eating problems. So recognizing where that kind of autonomy and control, where those boundaries are and how we can set him up to be as healthy and happy as possible. And just, sorry, I'm rambling because this is
like not rambling. I mean, I love it. I love it. All of this. Yeah, you're not rambling. And I see that you took that. I see you wrote down notes. I'm a note writer too. I do the same thing. Let me see what I forgot here.
So much. I mean, we could probably talk about any of these questions for an extended period of time. But for me personally, I was always the one in the family who was leaving. As a conservation researcher who specializes in tropical systems, I was almost more often gone than not, and I lived and worked abroad for a while. I kind of came to the term to accept that I probably don't want kids, just because I was like, I even went through a period of being like, I kind of wish my family weren't so loving, because then I wouldn't feel bad about leaving them, which is a very privileged complaint to have. And so moving home to focus on being your CRP, and, you know, shifting away from a full-time career, it's a big transition and it's a crazy time. So that's been tough, and it has been tough trying to find time for my consulting work, and it's just a reality. I want to acknowledge that I'm really lucky, our family's lucky that we're in a position where one of us can do this. We wouldn't be able to afford paying someone to do this.
Yeah.
And again, this is unquestionably the best thing I've done in my life. So I don't have any regrets about it. It's just an adjustment. And Danny, too, your life is changing now. Like the adult enrichment program he was in is suddenly not as good of a fit as we used to think.
Not as enriching as you once thought, is it?
Right. So both of us are kind of up in the air about what we're going to do next.
Danny, were you in a day? Was it a day program, Danny, that you were going to?
There you go. Why? Yes. Done. IENJOYEDIT. I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm.
So it was not stimulating.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it, but it was not stimulating.
Yeah. A lot of people know this. My brother when he was, my brother is 18 months older than me, so we're close, like you all are. He got schizophrenia when he was like 21 or something like that. We were young.
Yeah.
And when he first, that first started, and he came home, and there was a day program, because he wasn't in school anymore, he wasn't working, and so he checked out a day program, and he was like, I mean, it's okay, but it was nothing, they were in there like not doing anything, and not talking about anything, not helping anybody, not they're just in there, so it wasn't stimulating. Yeah.
You have any response to that, huh? A X A C C O. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you do value your friendships there, so I think we've talked about doing part-time there, so he can still have that social side, and then also have time for community college classes or whatever comes up.
We have a comment from Lisa, who said, yes, let's stop approaching autism as a tragedy. Danny and Tara, you are both amazing. Lisa,
oh, thanks, Lisa.
I'm actually taking a class with Lisa. Danny, I think I told you this, that my son is mostly non-speaking. So he's 7.5, and we're trying to help him communicate as best as possible. So I've been working with Lisa, and we're going to be trying to maybe transition to typing as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Danny just scampered off.
That's okay.
As I mentioned, he is a little dysregulated today, but he's super excited to be here. But I'm happy to hear that you'll be looking at those options. I mean, honestly, when my mom first told me, oh yeah, the point and spell things out, I was like, that sounds like nonsense. I was so skeptical. And then my sister went with them to Portland, and she's also a pretty skeptical person. And when she called me, she said, there's no way this is made up. And we know our brother enough, so like we know it's coming from him. And now that I'm able to do it with him, I'm just like, yeah.
And I think there's a lot of misinformation, and I think that there's a lot of pushback from places like ASHA. I don't know where else that are pushing back against this, and it's complete rubbish.
I mean, as a scientist, albeit in a very different field, but I'm very strongly trained in the scientific method and different approaches. And I've read the primary papers, which they say disprove or call into question. And it's just bad science. It really is. And I also specialize in melding quantitative and qualitative research. And there's not much qualitative research that's been done. And I think that's where you really see the value. And Danny, as soon as he feels like someone's testing him, he just freezes up, because communication is such a fragile and vulnerable thing. And you see that in several disabilities around speech. He's kind of coming to terms, as he mentioned, with all the trauma he's experienced. You're like, this person is so bright and so observant and so sensitive. And acknowledging, like, I've been kind of a jerk to him throughout my life. Like, very loving, but like everyone in the family, like, oh my gosh, like we've been talking to him like he's a baby, and he's smarter than all of us. And then the trauma that he's experienced, in society, in special ed, and that so many people out there are going through the same thing. That's tough. That's a lot to deal with.
That's heavy.
Yeah, and obviously not as tough for us as for the people actually experiencing it. That can open my eyes to more issues of disability justice and helping us all become better allies. And as you can see now, I mean, this is pretty mild, isn't it? But the dysregulation is tough, as anyone who has a loved one with autism can relate to, I imagine. And for me, I haven't lived at home in a long time. So that's just a reality that we are adjusting to. Communication can help with the dysregulation. It can reduce the anxiety, but, the tough parts of autism don't disappear.
Right.
And so it's just, Danny acknowledges it too. That's his biggest challenge.
Yeah, he does. He talks, Danny, you talk about that a lot in your podcast about being dysregulated. And I think that you spell it out really well in the beginning of what dysregulation is for you. It's really helpful.
Okay. Wow.
Wow.
I'm so happy. So happy I'm so happy it was helpful.
So tell us about your podcast. I don't know if y'all wrote this out or not, or what you did, but tell us all about.
Did. But now I gotta get him back here.
Oh yeah, sorry, Danny.
Oh, yeah, Dan, you want to come over? Well, I will start by saying that it was completely his idea, and everything. And he was, as with all our projects, he was super organized from the beginning. We sat down and he typed out. He already had a mission statement written out in his head. An idea of who we would ask as guests, because he knows a lot of my friends who are in the field, how he would structure each episode, that we would do it as a video podcast, since that's more easy for the spelling, a communication mode. And as you mentioned, even writing the song with Brian Laidlaw, who's part of Unrestricted Interest. And they do a lot of poetry and songwriting support for non-speaking autistics. So if any of you out there know anyone who might be interested, they're a really great group to work with.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he even, like in this introduction where he's speaking to the camera on his own, he directed all that. I want to go to this beach. I want to wear this. So it's been not only a fun project, but also just a really great experience for him to kind of spread his wings a little bit. Hey there, dude. They want to know about the podcast. Do you want to come share your answer?
Yes.
He's on his way. But I'm so glad that people are watching it. We were a little concerned that the episodes were a little long. I was like, I don't know how many people are going to sit down for 45 minutes, but yeah, people seem to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did do a PowerPoint, so I'll go ahead and put that in slideshow. All right, hun, you ready to share your answer? Y-E-S.
Yes.
Okay. Shall we go?
This podcast has been so much fun. It has been so much fun. For some background, our vision is to share the wonder and power of the ocean in our human experiences, to share the importance of thoughtful and compassionate inclusion in striving to save it, to share a minimally speaking autistic journey into pursuing its passion for the sea. We have a set of episodes about topics including marine mammals in Malaysia, young conservationists in Myanmar, ocean sand and plastic waste from discarded fishing gear, and also our own journey growing more comfortable in the water. This episode integrates ideas of inclusion and my own experiences in hosting interviews with my disability. It has been a great experience and also challenging, and I'm so grateful to be able to be myself.
All right, you wrote a bit more, mister. Ready? I first. Okay.
I first thought of doing it because I was getting more and more into ocean activities. I was so enthralled by it and was hooked on ocean podcasts. but it was surprisingly hard to find ones that I really enjoyed. I just wanted something that was just focused on what and Western experiences and perspectives, and I also wanted to show that people like me could be advocates for the ocean. I also wanted to try a new and creative project with Tava. She is a marine conservation researcher and my ocean adventure buddy.
Go ahead, Dan. You want me to read the rest, Dan?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll read the rest for now. So we decided to go for it. I directed everything, and Tara made it happen. We interview our friends who do awesome work around the world, and I love talking with these heroes, and I learn so much. I also see parallels between conservation and disability justice. There is such a need to listen to more voices, use empathy, and also be mindful. I hope to start another project with Tara on these cross-cutting themes. Maybe we will call it A Leo in Bloom, which Tara can explain. Yeah, so A Leo in Bloom, I don't know if I don't know how well known this book is, but it's called Leo the Late Bloomer. Does that ring a bell?
I haven't heard of it.
Well, probably because it was a children's book when Danny and I were kids, so in the late 80s. But a teacher read it at school. I forget which school it was. Mom, do you remember? Was it in the U.S. or in Japan? In Japan. So I was in kindergarten, and it's called Leo the Late Bloomer, and it's about this tiger, even though his name is Leo. This tiger cub, and he doesn't talk. And all the other baby animals are doing stuff, and like Leo just sat there. And then suddenly he blooms, and he's like drawing and like making friends. And I'm gonna get emotional. I was like, oh my God, that's my brother. Because when you're 5 and you're I'm also very tired, so I was so ecstatic. I ran home and told my mom and dad Danny's a late bloomer. He's gonna come around. And I don't necessarily think it's the healthiest narrative to have for people with disabilities because there's this assumption that they have to bloom and that it will happen. But it had a special place in my heart, and yeah, it was. Oh, my mom, we brought it all the way from Japan. Leo the Late Bloomer.
I mean, but as a kid, I mean, you don't know the ins and outs of ableism and all of that.
Yeah, and so it's such a cute. The trees budded. Leo's father wasn't watching, but Leo still wasn't blooming. Then one day, in his own good time, Leo bloomed.
I like it.
So yeah, so that's it's actually one of my brother's treasured things. It's one of the selected items that he keeps on his bookshelf in his room. And also by coincidence, he is a Leo, and I'm not into astrology, but we've learned that Danny is. So it seemed very perfect. He is a Leo in bloom.
Wow.
So we've been, thinking a lot about our journey, and I'm not a trained practitioner, and it's a fraught topic, and I want to respect the expertise of those who have been trained. But, Danny has so much to teach about compassion, not as inspiration porn, but your own insights about compassion and empathy. And we've learned also more about interpersonal relationships through this, and dealing with grief, dealing with the struggle for justice. So we've talked about starting another project in all of our spare time,
right?
where we have conversations about this. And the main reason I'm talking so much is just so you don't feel too much pressure to sit.
No, and just reading what you wrote, Danny, it's like you have so much that you want to share and change and do, and I can see that in just the few paragraphs that you've written. I mean, you are just so passionate about everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. P-A-L-L. I really am
Every time.
so P-A-S-S-I-O-N.
Passionate?
I really am so passionate.
Done?
Done.
Done?
Done. What else? Do you want to say anything else for now? I am so A-P-P-I-E-C-I-A-T-I-E. I'm so appreciative
You?
of you.
Your?
Your I-N-S-I-G-H-T-S.
Done?
I'm so appreciative of your insights.
Same here. I feel the same way about you. I mean, I've honestly, like, you know, with my son who is non-speaking or mostly non-speaking, like, just to have people like Danny to look up to, it's just, it fills me, you know, it fills my heart, because just to see other people like him, and, you know, because he's going through that whole special education system, and we're having all of these issues, and, you know, people doubting him, and, you know, him having to prove his worth to people. So it's incredible to, you know, it's incredible to hear your insights, Danny. It really is.
Yeah. And while he's doing a sticker, Danny is part of this youth advocacy group, Spellers and Allies Advocacy Network, through the International Association for Spelling to Communicate. Ages 18 to, well, over 18 for the spellers, and 18 to 30 for allies, because they don't want parents dominating the conversation. But they're working on a campaign to first get more and more people aware of the life-changing potential for spelling to communicate, and then from there try to get it more accepted in the schools, because that's a big stumbling block right now because of the ASHA statement. Schools don't, even if the parents are willing to pay for a communication partner, some schools haven't allowed them.
They won't even allow it. Yeah, they won't. Yeah.
So, you know, if any of you guys who are on here, and thanks for being here, by the way, this is something you're interested in, like, please feel free to contact us, and, you know, I'll make sure that their campaign, like, reaches out to you or anyone who you think would like to help spread the word.
And also, if you're watching, a lot of people tune in later, and, you know, not everybody comes live, but if you are watching, Kimberly or Angelina one, put in a resource list link in the comments, and that has I2SC. I get them. Yeah, it has that link in there. It has a lot of other links in there for helping your child transition to the alphabet. So that's one of the resources included.
That's awesome.
Someone just said, I want to check this comment. Nancy said she loves watching the series.
Oh, awesome. I-A-M. What do you want to say? M-E-L-A-T-E-D. I am elated.
I'm elated.
And Angelina, it doesn't have the link for unrestricted access. I'll put that link in there in the resource list after we're done with it.
And speaking of unrestricted interest, and I ask, they're going to do, they usually do at the end of each month a neuro-lyrical cafe where spellers present their songs, and it's like an open mic, a virtual open mic. Danny presents poems and songs every month. This month's a little different. They're going to do a virtual concert where Danny and others are going to present music videos that they've made. And so that's actually on the 27th, Saturday. I can send you the link for that too.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. One thing, sorry, Danny, I'm dominating. All the spellers we've met are just so creative, so compassionate, so insightful, so funny and in their own style. So that's a really cool thing about these events, is you can see just the beautiful diversity in their brilliance and their experiences. Anything to add? ITOTALLYAGREE. I totally agree.
Stickers?
Yeah, stickers. Yeah.
Done?
Done.
Done?
Done.
Done?
Done. Yep.
All right. So when we talked before in our pre-interview, Danny, you said that you wanted to share your thoughts on the representation of non-speaking autistics in the media. So we want to hear your thoughts.
Shall I get started? All right. This is another PowerPoint.
I want to do.
Yeah, go ahead. Go to the PowerPoint. And click this little button here, right there. There you go. Oh, next slide. Okay. There you go.
This is a news topic. Just one of many sharing our views on this. I recommend looking at the your elastic music toolkit and communication for really great perspectives. But for me, I will say that it is so profoundly important to have respectful and meaningful representation of non-speaking autistic people. It may be easy to dismiss if you're not marginalized, but for those who are, it is huge. I guess the most trending example is music by Sia. Wow, it has been so distressing to observe the thoughtless and ableist mindset behind this awful movie. It is marinated in misconceptions about us, not to mention the unacceptable responses from Sia, further showcasing her absolutely disdainful attitude toward us.
Yeah, Dan.
Here is a poem I wrote about it. Curtains up, what a spectacle, an absolute spectacular show of display, understood and caring of the less fortunate among us, a very noble to tell our story of endlessly inspiring you, and never mind what we actually are, what we feel and breathe and hear, and what who we are. What would that matter to you who only need us as a prop in your autistic and also applaudable spectacle?
I love that.
On the other side is that film, the reason I absolutely loved it. It was so incredible of the typical director.
You're good. Is that okay?
Director consciously conveyed our existence. It was so beautiful and tender and honest. It is a must see for anyone who wants to understand us more. They also release a toolkit for further learning with input from adults, including me.
Thanks, man. Other?
Other than that, I have not resonated with love on the spectrum nor atypical. I'm eager to see Loop. I'm hoping for more portrayals of our rich minds and dreams and lived experiences and our sensitive and loving souls and our humor and chic.
You got the cheek part right, Danny.
Wow. Bobby from the group said, yes, Danny, thank you for mentioning that awful, abhorrent film.
Anything to say? Oh, he's doing the sticker. I'll just say, we avoided looking into it for so long because Danny found it distressing, and then he finally decided to dive in, and we watched the trailer, and your response was That is bizarre. That's not my experience at all. G.
That is a
A.
see. That is a great word for it's.
That is a great word. What word are you talking about?
It's a E N.
Abhorrent. Abhorrent is a great word for it. Yeah.
And Cheyenne said that she loved your poem, so thank you, Danny. I did too. You should send it to her.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, I have heard about the film, and I've heard people talking about the film, and I think the last person that we had on, Torin, he kind of told me more about the film, but I can't bring myself to watch it. I know that's really privileged of me, but like I don't want to watch it because I don't know. I just
I think it's better for as few people as possible to watch it, actually.
I appreciate you watching it, Danny, and
well, we only watched the trailer, and even that was
enough. I appreciate that. I appreciate that sacrifice that you made.
I think you want to say something because your finger is raised, but I am. I'm so SICK.
I'm so sick.
OBERIT. B.
So sick of being. Nominated.
I am so sick over it being nominated. You're referring
Nominated
to
for what?
Golden Globes. Best musical.
What?
I think, yeah.
That's.
It's okay, Dan. We'll get there
First.
soon. We'll get there soon, hon. Yeah. Yeah. So.
I didn't know that.
Well, outside of, I think, the bubble of non-speaking autistic advocates, or even autistic advocates, some people think, from what I've seen, it's very heartwarming. Like, oh, how wonderful of Sia to make this movie, which is, yeah.
That's infuriating.
Yeah. You want to say anything about it? ITISGIS.
Disappointing.
It is disappointing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But on the positive side, as Danny said, the reason I jump is just, based loosely on the book, inspired by the book. Yeah, it's gorgeous. If you haven't
watched that, I haven't watched that yet. I did watch Loop, Danny. I watched Loop like last week for the first time. I did watch it. It's only like 11 minutes, so
okay, doable.
But how was it?
How was it?
I would like to know what your thoughts on it. I don't even like to have opinions on, you know what I mean? Like, I want to know what Danny thinks about it, or what other non-speaking people think about it before I even because there might be something that I don't get that might be, I don't have an opinion on it. Danny, I'm gonna wait for your opinion, and you can let me know how you feel about it.
What do you think about that, hon? You're kicking butt with those stickers. I
will let you know.
I will let you know. We read an interview with the director, I think, and it seemed like it was made in a pretty respectful way in terms of consulting with actual autistic people. So that's an improvement for music anyway.
Yeah. Bobby says that she thought it was a gorgeous film.
Oh, awesome.
And someone else said that they agreed.
Fabulous. Maybe this weekend.
Yeah, let me know, Danny. Shoot me an email or something to tell me, and then I'll come out with my opinion.
Okay. All right, Dan. IWANTOWATCHTONI. And get it. I want to watch TONIGHT. I want to watch tonight. All right, you'll get your email soon, maybe.
Yes, thank you. Oh, Cheyenne said that the voice actress is a non-speaker. The voice actress of Loop is a non-speaker, so that's good. They made accommodations for her to be able to play the role. So I'm liking it even more now, but I'm gonna wait for Danny.
Okay.
Do you want to share the poem that you wrote for your mom?
Yeah, Danny's very prepared. He's written an answer for everything. So you have a bit of an explanation, backstory. You want to go into that now? Y-E-S. Done. Done. Okay, you want to go to the PowerPoint then? We go one slide down and then that button right there. There you go. Okay.
First, I must say that my mom is my hero and my most best person. So abundant, she has selflessly devoted herself to making my life better, and I cherish her. I think many parents of autistic people lose themselves in the process of caring and advocating and constantly looking for solutions. It is an incredibly tough reality. I fully realize my autism disrupts and exhausts our family, and I am lucky that they are dedicated to me.
Okay. Yes.
Yet my transition to fluency has had some growing pains. It has been tough for my mom to realize my desire for more independence. She was accustomed to making all my decisions for me. She also struggled to accept that she did not know me as well as she had assumed. This was so difficult to work through during this tough time. I wrote this poem.
Dan, do you want to read the poem out loud? Okay. Done. Okay. Done. All right. You want to read it?
Mother and woman, it is a war witness, but of acids, a body's awakening. It in its unsipped, unsensing, unlistening refusal to yield anew to forces beyond her love, make in the panic of birth, the pain of letting love unfold, the loss of her own owning of that which she peacefully clings to. We read only her sacrifices to bolster her sense of self. She would not see her immense worth in the salmon clouded eve of her reign.
Raining.
When the tragedy of motherhood is the loss of the woman herself. If only it were triumph to let me go, to become herself, to herself with only my gratitude and love evermore.
Okay, Dan. Thanks for reading that. Do you want to share the rest of your thoughts?
Yes. I'm so happy that she is really trying and adapting and really embracing me as I am. Thanks so much. Better now. She's so loving and now can show me her love in ways that I actually need. I'm the luckiest to be her son.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. That was really beautiful. Wow.
Wow. Thank you.
I am so what? O L U C K Y T O H A D E H E R. I am so lucky to have her.
Is it don't?
You want to say any more?
Is there any more?
Yeah, you're doing great. You're doing great. S H E I S
She's
T H E S T R O N G
strong.
E S T P E R S O N. She's the strongest person.
The strongest person.
After N. You okay? She's the strongest person. Okay.
The strongest person.
I.
Person. I. Okay.
N O.
I know. Done.
Yeah, she's the strongest person I know. I agree.
Yes.
It's interesting to hear you talk about that. Sorry, go ahead, Danny.
No, it's okay. He was just rereading something. Dan, you want to sit down?
It's interesting to hear you talk about that, Danny, because I could see how there would be growing pains, especially when you have that huge change and then probably a lot of guilt on top of that, because mothers always feel guilty. It seems like, well, not always, but just, yeah. That was powerful.
Yes. And I am so wanting her to be happy.
I am so wanting her to be happy.
Done.
Yeah.
Everybody in the comments is loving the poem. I know this has been like so taxing. We have one more question, Danny. And this is a question I ask all of my guests. So if you had one piece of advice for the parents of newly diagnosed autistic kids, what would it be?
All right, back to the PowerPoint. The last slide. You want to do it? Sorry, hon. Okay. That same button, that's the slideshow button. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Just one that this stuff I will say treat us like complete people. This includes respect, kindness, and genuine interest in our lives. Vision, competence, good as in learning about the world beyond our special education classrooms. Remember that you will shape our lives for better or for worse. Choose to be a caring and positive influence in our lives and value us as people. Deficits celebrate our beautiful music, beautiful art, celebrate our beautiful artistic past. There is much more I could say, but that is my short answer for now.
Great, Danny. Thank you, hon.
How about it?
Go ahead. Anything else to add? And T and done. Yeah, because there's no additional advice for now. Yeah, you go ahead and go to the bathroom. Just as a yeah, and it's something even like we in our household we work on every day. There's small remnants of things that we still do. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't do that to my sister. Like, why would I do that to my brother? And a huge thing for Danny has been keeping up with the news. You know, it's a tumultuous time. He started watching the news regularly with my mom, and that's helped him a lot, even though the news is distressing. Instead of having a kind of sense from overhearing conversations that stuff is going on, he has more access
see
to
it for himself.
Yeah. So that's huge.
And process his own opinions of it. Instead of only hearing the opinions of the person talking.
Exactly. And I do want to, can I say something about Mousy?
Yes.
One person who hasn't been mentioned very much, just because it hasn't come up in the questions, is our little sister, but she is such a huge part of Danny's life, so I wanted to, you want to say something about, we call her Mousy, because she was so small for so long. Done. Or Monkey, that's your preferred title for her. I-A-M-S-O. I'm so L-U-C-K-Y-T-O. Have S-U-C-H.
Such
A-N-A-M-A-N-G-L-I.
little sister.
I'm so lucky to have such an amazing little sister. Anything else you want to say about her? S-H-E-I-S-M-Y-B-E-S-T. She's my best. F-R-I-E-N-T.
Your best friend is
She's my best friend. Huh? Okay. Anything else? A-N-D-A-C-O-M-P-L-I-C-E. She is my best friend and accomplice.
Danny, how old is she?
She's 2 years younger than him. So we're all 2 years apart. But it's actually worked out nicely. We each have a definite role in Danny's mind.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if I'm pushing him, I'll be like, I don't care if you don't think I'm fun. Air is a fun one.
Right, you're the
I'm
oldest.
where you need to be, but you can have fun with Air.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So Dan, you're doing great. You want to come sit down? It's almost over. You're doing so awesome. Yeah, I think you didn't get any sleep last night. Did you get any sleep last night? No. Yeah. So you're doing really awesome right now.
I'm the same way when I have something big the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get so nervous. I cannot go to sleep. I just think and think and think and think and think. So Danny, I think that we are done for this interview, and I really appreciate you coming on, and Tara, you coming on.
Yes, stop.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. Danny really enjoyed the questions and loves meeting you. T-H-A-N.
T-N-K. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing that with us. It's funny because Danny is, moving. Danny, you're moving around a lot, but it's like it's my life at home. We're just always moving around and talking together. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and he can hear. He's got really sharp hearing, which we've
learned. This is my life. You're living my life. Like, we could come and hang out at your house, and it would be like a typical day. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and have some kombucha. And thanks to everyone who's listened, who's tuned in to watch. It's really awesome that people are interested to hear Danny's story, and it means so much to him that his words reach people after 35 years of not being able to do that. So yeah, it's kind of one of his 5-year goal is to be an advocate, and I think he's already impacting so many people
He is already there, so
Yeah.
check the box. Yeah. Check the box, Danny. You got it. Yeah, everyone is saying thank you, and I want to thank everybody for interacting with us and hanging with us during our book club meeting. If you're new to the group, we do this every Thursday, and we have epic guests and conversations. Tara, you hold on. I'm gonna end the broadcast, and we'll still be together. So,
Okay.
oh, Angelina said this is. She said she thinks this is my favorite interview so far.
Oh my gosh, Danny.
Yes.
Of course it is.
Yes.
Of course.
That's me as the proud older sister. I am so
Honored.
I'm so honored. That's nice, Dan.
Same. Me too. Okay, so everyone, thank you for joining us, and I'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place.
Bye.